Now starting another original tale from Korafika Tales, an exclusive work from our publishing house, narrated by Joanne. Enjoy the story. He walked into the wrong hospital room. 2 newborn twins, his ex-wife's exhausted face, and a silence that crushed him like glass. She never told him she was pregnant. He never asked why she left so quietly. Now, his fiancée is 3 floors above, carrying his child. His empire is waiting outside. And the woman he destroyed 2 years ago is holding 2 pieces of his soul he didn't know existed. 1 man, 2 women, 3 lives about to shatter. This is the story of the choice that will burn everything to the ground. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and fear. Kang Min-ho didn't belong here. Men like him didn't walk sterile hallways under fluorescent lights. They commanded from penthouses. They moved through the world like storms, silent, inevitable, and always leaving wreckage behind. But today, he was just a man visiting his fiancée. Sujin was 3 floors up, glowing and radiant, 7 months pregnant with his first child. Or so he thought. She'd sent him a message earlier that morning. "Come see me. I have a surprise." He assumed it was another ultrasound. Another reminder that he was building a legacy beyond blood and bullets. He took the elevator. His bodyguards stayed in the lobby. He didn't need protection here. This was neutral ground. The doors opened on the 4th floor. He checked his phone. Room 427. He walked past nurses who didn't look at him, past families whispering in waiting rooms, past the steady beep of machines that measured life in increments too small to see. Room 427. He pushed the door open and stopped. The room was dim, curtains half drawn. The light from the window cut across the bed like a knife. A woman sat in a chair beside the hospital bed, her back to him. Dark hair pulled into a messy bun. Shoulders that looked too tired to hold the world anymore. 2 plastic bassinets sat beside her. Tiny bodies wrapped in white blankets. Newborns. He stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a soft click. "Sujin?" The woman turned. It wasn't Sujin. It was her. Yuna. His ex-wife. The air left his lungs. She looked at him like he was a ghost. Or maybe he was looking at her that way. It had been 2 years since the divorce. 2 years since he'd signed the papers and walked away without looking back. She was thinner now, her face carved by something he couldn't name. Exhaustion, pain, survival. But her eyes, God, her eyes were still the same. Dark, deep, unreadable. Min-ho. Her voice was quiet, too quiet, like she'd been screaming for so long that silence was the only sound left. He didn't move. Couldn't. "What are you doing here?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Just looked at him. Then at the 2 bassinets beside her. "I gave birth this morning," she said. The words hit him like a fist to the chest. "You, what?" "Twins," she said. "Girls." He stared at her, then at the babies, then back at her. "Why are you telling me this?" She laughed. It was a broken sound, like glass shattering in slow motion. "I'm not telling you anything, Min-ho. You walked into the wrong room." He looked around. Room 427. He checked his phone again. Sujin's message. "Room 427. Come see me." He looked at Yuna. "This is room 427. "I know. Then where's your fiancé?" Yuna's smile was razor sharp. "She's 3 floors up. Room 727. You misread the number." The floor tilted beneath him. He'd walked into the wrong room. He should leave. Apologize. Walk out and never look back. But he didn't move. Because something was wrong. Yuna wasn't looking at him anymore. She was looking at the babies. And there was something in her expression, something raw and unguarded, that made his chest tighten. "Congratulations," he said finally. She didn't respond. "Who's the father?" Her jaw tightened. "That's none of your business." "You're right." He took a step toward the door. "I should go." "Yes, you should." But he stopped, turned back. "Are you okay?" She looked at him like he'd just slapped her. "Am I okay?" Her voice was still quiet, but there was something underneath it now. Something sharp and furious and barely contained. "You walk in here after 2 years, after you left me for her, after you didn't even ask why I signed the papers so fast. And now you want to know if I'm okay." He said nothing. She stood, slowly, like her body was still learning how to carry weight again. "I'm fine, Minho. I've been fine. I'll always be fine. Because that's what I do. I survive, even when you don't want me to." She walked to the bassinets, looked down at the 2 sleeping babies. "Now get out." He should have left, but he didn't, because he saw it. The way she touched one of the baby's tiny hands, the way her fingers trembled, the way her breath caught. And he knew. He didn't know how he knew, but he did. "Yuna." She didn't look at him. "Get out. Yuna, look at me. Get out. Are they mine?" Silence. The machines beeped. The fluorescent lights hummed. The world outside the window kept moving. But inside that room, everything stopped. Yuna turned. Her face was stone. "No. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying." "Then why won't you look at me?" She looked at him, full force, eyes blazing. "Because I hate you." The words hit him harder than any bullet ever could. "I hate you for leaving. I hate you for choosing her. I hate you for being happy while I was breaking. And I hate you for standing here now, asking questions you have no right to ask." She stepped closer. "These are my daughters, mine, not yours, not anyone's. And you will leave this room and forget you ever saw them." He didn't move. "Yuna, if you ever loved me," she whispered, "even a little, you'll walk away. Right now." Her voice cracked, and that crack broke something inside him. Because Yuna never cried. Not when he left. Not when she signed the papers. Not even when he told her he was engaged. But now her eyes were wet, and he realized he'd made a mistake. Not today, 2 years ago. "I'm sorry," he said. She closed her eyes. Too late. He turned, walked to the door, put his hand on the handle, and stopped. "What are their names?" Silence. Then quietly, "Minseo and Minjai." Min. His name was in theirs. He looked back at her one last time. She was holding both babies now, one in each arm. Her face buried against their tiny heads. And he knew. He knew everything. But he walked out anyway, because she'd asked him to. Minho stood in the hallway for a long time. He didn't go to room 727. Didn't go to see Sujin. Didn't move. His phone buzzed. A message from his second-in-command. "Meeting in 20. The Russians are getting impatient." He typed back. "Handle it." Another buzz. "Sujin, where are you?" "I'm waiting." He stared at the message. Then he turned and walked back to room 427. The door was still closed. He didn't knock, just stood there, hand on the handle, heart pounding in a way it hadn't in years. Inside, he could hear her humming. Soft, broken, beautiful. The same song she used to hum when they were married, when she thought he was asleep, when she thought he couldn't hear her. He closed his eyes. Minseo. Minjai. He pushed the door open. Yuna looked up, startled. "I told you to leave." "I know. Then why are you still here?" He walked to the bassinets, looked down at the 2 sleeping babies. They were perfect. Tiny fists, tiny noses, tiny everything. And they looked... God, they looked like him. "When were they born?" he asked. "This morning. 6:47 and 6:52. "How much did they weigh?" 5 pounds each. "Are they healthy?" "Yes." He reached out, touched one of their tiny hands. The baby's fingers curled around his, and something inside him shattered. "Yuna, don't. I need to know." "No, you don't. Are they mine?" She didn't answer. He turned to her. "Tell me the truth." She stood, walked to the window, arms crossed, back to him. "It doesn't matter." "It does." "Why?" She spun around. So you can add them to your list of assets? So you can claim them like you claim everything else? So I can take care of them. She froze. What? If they're mine, I want to take care of them. She laughed, that same broken sound. You don't even take care of yourself, Minho. You think you can take care of 2 babies? I can try. You couldn't even take care of me. The words hung in the air like smoke. He said nothing, because she was right. You left, she continued. You chose her. You chose your empire. You chose everything except me. And now you want to... what? Play father? Pretend you didn't abandon me when I needed you most? I didn't know you were pregnant. Because I didn't tell you. Why not? Because you would have come back out of obligation. Not love. And I didn't want that. She wiped her eyes. I wanted you to want me. Not need me. Not because of a baby. But because you couldn't imagine your life without me. Her voice broke. But you could. You did. And you never looked back. He stepped closer. I looked back every single day. She shook her head. Liar. I'm not lying. Then why didn't you come back? Because you told me not to. I never... You signed the papers without a fight, Yuna. You didn't cry, didn't beg, didn't ask me to stay. You just let me go. Because I had pride. And I'm supposed to read your mind? You're supposed to know me. Silence. He looked at her. Really looked at her. She was still the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, even now. Even exhausted and furious and breaking. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Stop saying that. I mean it. It doesn't change anything. I know. She turned back to the window. You should go see your fiancée. She's waiting for you. He didn't move. Yuna, go, Minho. Not until you tell me the truth. I already did. No, you didn't. She closed her eyes. Please. Her voice was so small, so broken. Please just go. He walked to the door, stopped. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't. I will. Minho. If they're mine, I'm not walking away. Not this time. He left before she could respond. Minho didn't go to room 727 that day. He went home instead. His penthouse overlooked the city. 40 floors of glass and steel. The empire he'd built stretched out below him, silent, powerful, and utterly empty. He stood by the window. Whiskey in hand, mind racing. Mincio, Minjae, his daughters. He didn't need a DNA test. He knew. The timeline matched. The last night before the divorce. They'd fought. She'd cried. He'd been cruel. And then... they'd fallen into bed like they always did. Like they always would. One last time. He'd left the next morning. Signed the papers that afternoon. Met Sujin a month later. And Yuna had said nothing. She'd carried his children alone. Given birth alone. Planned to raise them alone. Without him. His phone buzzed. Sujin. Are you okay? You didn't come see me today. He stared at the message, then typed, Sorry. Emergency at work. I'll come tomorrow. Another buzz. Sujin, I miss you. The baby misses you too. He set the phone down, walked to his desk, opened a drawer. Inside was a single photograph. Their wedding day, Yuna in white, smiling, radiant, impossibly young. He'd been 27, she'd been 24. They'd been so sure, so stupid, so in love. He didn't know when it had started to fall apart. Or maybe he did. The late nights, the lies, the violence he brought home without meaning to. She'd asked him once, Do you love me more than the empire? He'd laughed, kissed her forehead, said, You are the empire. But he'd lied, and she'd known. He closed the drawer, grabbed his keys, and drove back to the hospital. It was past midnight when he arrived. The hospital was quiet. Most of the lights were off. The hallways echoed with the sound of his footsteps. He took the elevator to the 4th floor, room 427. He pushed the door open. Yuna was asleep in the chair beside the bassinets, head tilted back, mouth slightly open. Exhausted. The babies were awake, staring up at nothing. He walked over, looked down at them. Minseo, Minjai. He didn't know which was which. One of them made a small sound, a tiny coo. He reached down, carefully, gently, and picked her up. She was so small, so impossibly small. Her eyes blinked up at him. Dark, wide, curious. "Hey," he whispered. She didn't cry, just looked at him, like she knew, like she'd been waiting. "I'm sorry I wasn't here," he said quietly. "I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry I—" His voice broke. He held her closer. And for the first time in years, he cried. Not loud, not dramatic. Just silent tears running down his face as he held his daughter and realized what he'd almost lost. "Minho." He turned. Yuna was awake, watching him. "You came back. I told you I would." She stood, walked over, took the baby from his arms and placed her gently back in the bassinet. Then she turned to him. "They're yours." He stared at her. "I know. I was going to tell you," she said. "Eventually, when I was ready, when they were older. Why didn't you?" "Because I was afraid." "Of what?" "That you'd take them from me." He shook his head. "I would never." "You took everything else." Her voice was steady, but her eyes were breaking. "You took my heart, my hope, my future. And I survived. But if you take them—" She looked at the babies. "I won't survive that." He stepped closer. "I don't want to take them, Yuna."
You have 2 options. Keep watching short clips. Unlock the full story now. 14 full episodes. New content every week. Listen anytime, anywhere, no interruptions. Exclusive members-only area. Choose the story theme once a week. Scan the QR code now. Access is closing.
"I want to be part of their lives. Part of your life. You have a fiancée." "I know." "She's pregnant." "I know." "Then what are you doing here?" He didn't answer. Because he didn't know. All he knew was that standing in this room, looking at Yuna and their daughters, it felt like coming home. And he hadn't felt that in 2 years. "I need time," she said quietly. "How much?" "I don't know." "Yuna, please." She looked at him. "Just give me time." He nodded. "Okay." He walked to the door, stopped. "Can I come back tomorrow?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Okay." He left. But this time, he didn't feel like he was walking away. He felt like he was walking toward something. Something he'd been running from for 2 years. Something that looked like forgiveness, and second chances, and hope. Minho came back the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. Every morning at 7, before the city woke up, before his empire demanded his attention, before Sujin called asking where he was, he brought coffee for Yuna, the same order she used to get when they were married. Hazelnut latte with extra foam. She never thanked him, just took the cup and turned away. But she drank it, every time. He sat in the chair beside the bassinets and watched his daughters sleep. Watched them wake. Watched them stare at him with dark eyes that looked exactly like his. Yuna didn't talk much, just watched him watching them. Like she was waiting for him to disappear. Like she expected him to get bored and leave. But he didn't. On the 4th day, one of the babies started crying. Minjai. He'd learned to tell them apart now. Minjai had a tiny birthmark on her left wrist. Minseo didn't. Yuna reached for her, but Minho was faster. He picked her up. Carefully. The way the nurses had shown him. "Hey," he whispered. "Hey, it's okay." Minjai kept crying. Yuna stood. "You're holding her wrong." "I'm not." "Support her head more." He adjusted. Minjai quieted slightly. "She's hungry," Yuna said. "How do you know?" "Because I'm her mother." She took Minjai from his arms, sat down, started feeding her. Minho watched. There was something about the way Yuna looked when she held their daughters. Something soft and fierce at the same time. Like she'd burn the world down to protect them. Like she already had. "You're good at this," he said. She didn't look up. "I've had 9 months to practice. Alone. By choice." Was it? She finally looked at him. "What do you want me to say, Minho? That I wished you were there? That I cried myself to sleep every night? That I—" She stopped. Looked away. "It doesn't matter now. It does to me." "Why?" Her voice cracked. "Why does it suddenly matter? You didn't care 2 years ago. You didn't care when you left. You didn't care when you—" "I always cared. You had a funny way of showing it." Silence. Minjae finished feeding. Yuna burped her gently, placed her back in the bassinet. Then she turned to Minho. "Your fiancé came by yesterday." His blood turned cold. "What?" "Sujin. She was looking for you. Asked the nurses which room you'd been visiting. They told her 427. What did she say?" "Nothing. She saw me, saw the babies, and left." Minho stood, ran a hand through his hair. "Yuna, I'm sorry, I didn't— Don't apologize to me. Apologize to her. I will." "When? Now." He grabbed his jacket. Yuna's voice stopped him. "Minho." He turned. She was looking at the babies, not at him. "You can't do this." "Do what?" "Live 2 lives, be in 2 places, love 2 women." She finally looked at him. "You have to choose." "I know." "Then choose." He said nothing, because he didn't know how. Room 727 was 3 floors up, same hospital, different world. Sujin was sitting up in bed, hands on her round belly, eyes red. She'd been crying. "Sujin, don't." Her voice was sharp, sharper than he'd ever heard it. "I saw you," she said. "With her. With those babies. I can explain." "Explain what? That your ex-wife just happened to have twins the same week I'm in the hospital? That you just happened to visit her every single day? That you just happened to forget I existed?" "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Minho?" He sat down, took a breath. "They're mine." Silence. Sujin stared at him like he'd just stabbed her. "What?" "The babies. They're mine. From before the divorce. She didn't tell me she was pregnant. I didn't know until I walked into her room by accident." Sujin's hands trembled. You have children. With her." "Yes." "And you didn't think to tell me?" "I just found out." "It's been 4 days, Minho. 4 days. And you said nothing." She stood, walked to the window, arms wrapped around herself. "I'm pregnant with your child. I'm supposed to marry you in 3 months. And you've been spending every morning with your ex-wife and your secret daughters." Her voice broke. "How could you?" He stood, walked toward her. "Sujin, please. Do you still love her?" The question hung in the air like a blade. "Answer me." He opened his mouth, closed it, because he didn't know the answer. Or maybe he did, and that was worse. Sujin turned, tears streaming down her face. "Get out. Sujin, get out. Please let me get out." Her scream echoed through the room. He left. But not before he saw the way she crumbled. The way her hands went to her belly. The way she whispered to the baby inside. "It's okay. We'll be okay. Even if he's not here." And he realized he'd just broken another woman. Again. He didn't go back to Yuna's room that day. Or the next. He went back to his empire. Back to the meetings and the blood and the violence he understood. His men noticed the change. The way his jaw was always tight. The way he snapped at everyone. The way he looked at his phone like it was a bomb about to go off. On the 3rd day, his second-in-command pulled him aside. "Boss, you okay?" "Fine." "You don't look fine." "I said I'm fine." "Is it the Russians?" "No." "Then what?" Minho said nothing. His second-in-command studied him. "It's a woman, isn't it?" Minho's silence was answer enough. "Let me guess. Your fiancé found out about—" "Don't." Boss, you can't run an empire and a love triangle at the same time. I'm not. Yes, you are. And you know what happens to men like us when we get distracted? Minho looked at him. We die. His second-in-command stepped closer. You need to figure this out, fast, because if you don't, someone else will, and it won't end well. He left. Minho stood there, alone in his office, empire spread out below him. And for the first time in his life, he didn't care about any of it. All he cared about were two tiny girls with his eyes, and the woman who'd carried them alone. He went back on the 7th day, early morning, before sunrise. Room 427 was dark, quiet. Yuna was asleep in the chair. The babies were asleep in their bassinets. He sat down, watched them. Mincio shifted, made a small sound. He reached over, touched her tiny hand. Her fingers curled around his, and something inside him broke. He'd built an empire, commanded armies, controlled half the city's underground. But this tiny hand holding his finger, this was the only thing that mattered. You came back. Yuna's voice. Quiet. Sleepy. He looked at her. I always come back to you. She sat up, rubbed her eyes. Sujin broke up with you, didn't she? He nodded. I'm sorry. Don't be. You loved her. I thought I did. Yuna stood, walked to the window. Dawn was breaking, pink and gold and soft. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. You can't have both of us. I know. You can't have both lives. I know. She turned to him. Then what do you want, Minho? He looked at the babies, then at her. I want this. I want them. I want you. You had me. You threw me away. I was an idiot. You were a coward. I know. She crossed her arms. Why should I believe you won't leave again? Because I didn't know what I had until it was gone. That's not good enough. Then what is? She walked closer, stood in front of him. Prove it. How? Choose. I already did. No. You chose to come here. You didn't choose to stay. She looked him dead in the eye. Choose me. Choose them. Choose this life. Not because you feel guilty. Not because they're your daughters. But because you can't imagine your life without us. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Can you do that? He stood, looked at her, and for the first time in years, he told the truth. I don't know. She nodded, like she'd expected that answer. Then figure it out, because I won't wait forever. She walked past him, picked up Minjai, started feeding her, and Minho realized the choice wasn't between Yuna and Sujin. The choice was between the man he'd been and the man he wanted to be, and he didn't know if he could change, or if it was already too late. The hospital discharged Yuna and the babies on the 10th day. Minho hired a car service, paid for a private room, made sure she had everything she needed. She didn't thank him, just looked at him like he was a stranger doing a good deed, polite, distant, careful. Where are you going? He asked as she packed the last of the baby supplies. Home. Where's home? She hesitated. An apartment, downtown, small, but it's enough. Let me see it. No. Yuna, you don't get to know where I live, Minho. You don't get to show up whenever you want. You don't get to... She stopped, took a breath. You don't get to be part of this unless you're all in, and you're not. So please, just let me go. He watched her lift the car seat with Mincio inside, watched her struggle with the diaper bag in the second car seat. He stepped forward, took Minjay's car seat from her. I'm driving you home, Minho. I'm not asking. She stared at him, then nodded. They drove in silence. Downtown, a neighborhood he knew well, not dangerous, but not safe either. Buildings with peeling paint and flickering streetlights, the kind of place people lived when they were surviving, not thriving. She directed him to a 4-story walk-up. No elevator. He looked at the stairs, then at the 2 car seats, then at her. "Fourth floor?" "Third." "You've been carrying them up and down these stairs?" "I manage." He grabbed both car seats, started climbing. She followed, slower, still recovering. The apartment was exactly what he expected. Tiny, one bedroom, a kitchenette, bathroom barely big enough to turn around in, but it was clean. And there were 2 cribs set up in the bedroom. And everything was organized with the precision of someone who'd prepared alone. He set the car seats down, looked around. This was where his daughters were going to grow up, in this apartment, with water stains on the ceiling and a radiator that clanged and a view of a brick wall. "Yuna, I know what you're going to say. Do you? You're going to offer to buy me a better place, give me money, set up a trust fund for the girls." She turned to him. "And I'm going to say no. Why? Because I don't want your money. I want you to actually be here, not just write a check and disappear. I'm not disappearing. You already did once." He stepped closer. "I made a mistake. You made a choice. I was wrong. And now you want me to believe you've changed?" "Yes." She laughed, that broken sound again. "People like you don't change, Minho. You build empires. You destroy things. You take what you want and leave when you're bored. That's who you are. That's who I was. What's the difference?" He looked at the cribs, at Minseo and Minjai sleeping peacefully. "Them." Yuna shook her head. "That's not enough. What do you want from me?" "I want you to leave your empire." Silence. He stared at her. "What?" "You heard me. Leave it. Walk away. Be a father. Be a man. Not a crime lord." "Yuna, it's not that simple." "Yes, it is. You choose them or you choose power. You can't have both. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You're afraid. Afraid of being ordinary. Afraid of being just a man instead of a king. Afraid that without the empire, you're nothing." Her eyes blazed. "But I need you to be nothing. Because that's the only version of you I can trust." He said nothing. Because she was right. He was afraid. Terrified. The empire was all he'd ever known. All he'd ever built. All he'd ever been. Without it, who was he? "I need time," he said finally. "How much?" "I don't know." She walked to the door, opened it. "Then go. Think about it. And when you've made your choice, really made it, come back." He walked to the door, stopped. "What if I can't?" She looked at him, eyes wet. "Then don't come back at all." He left. The empire didn't sleep. Minho spent the next 3 days in meetings, negotiations, territory disputes, money laundering operations, everything that made his world turn. But his mind was somewhere else. 3rd floor walk-up. 2 cribs, water stains. Yuna's voice. "You choose them, or you choose power." His second-in-command noticed. "Boss, the Italians are waiting." Minho looked up. "What?" "The meeting. The shipment. You've been staring at that wall for 20 minutes. Minho stood, straightened his jacket. "Tell them we're out." "What?" "The shipment. We're not taking it." "Boss, we've been planning this for 6 months. I said we're out." His second-in-command stared at him. "What's going on?" Minho walked to the window, looked out at the city, his empire, built on blood and fear and violence. And he was so tired. Tired of looking over his shoulder. Tired of wondering who'd betray him next. Tired of being the man everyone feared and no one loved. He turned. "I'm stepping down." Silence. "You're what?" "I'm leaving. I'm out." "Boss, you can't just... People don't leave. You know that. You leave, you're dead within a week. Then I'll die. What about everything we've built? You run it." "Me? You've been my second for 8 years. You know the operation better than anyone. It's yours." His second-in-command stepped closer. "This is about the woman, isn't it? And the babies." Minho said nothing. "Boss, listen to me. You walk away from this life, you don't get it back. You understand that?" "I know. You'll be ordinary, powerless. Just another guy. Good. You'll have enemies, people who want revenge. You think they'll just let you walk away? I'll handle it. How? Minho looked at him. By disappearing. It took 2 weeks to arrange. New identities, new city, new life. He liquidated assets, paid off debts, made deals with people who wanted him dead. Some of them took the money. Some of them didn't. He knew he wouldn't survive long. Not in this city. So he planned to leave. And he planned to take Yuna and the girls with him. If she'd still have him. He showed up at her apartment at midnight. Knocked softly. She opened the door, eyes wide. Minho? What are you? I'm done. What? The Empire. I'm out. I'm leaving the city. Leaving everything. She stared at him. You're serious? Yes. Why? He stepped closer. Because you were right. I can't be a crime lord and a father. I can't live 2 lives. I can't... His voice cracked. I can't lose you again. She crossed her arms, but her eyes were soft. What about Sujin? She deserves better than me. And I don't? You deserve the best version of me. And that's not who I've been. But it's who I want to be. He took a breath. I'm leaving in 3 days. I have a house in Oregon. Small town. No one knows me there. I can start over. Be normal. Be a father. He looked at her. Come with me. Silence. Yuna's eyes filled with tears. You're really asking me to trust you again? Yes. After everything. Yes. What if you change your mind? I won't. You don't know that. I do. Because the only thing I'm sure of in this entire world is that I love you. And I love them. And I can't live without you anymore. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You broke me, Minho. I know. You left me when I needed you most. I know. How do I know you won't do it again? He stepped forward, took her hands. Because this time I'm not choosing you out of obligation, or guilt, or because of the girls. I'm choosing you because you're the only thing that's ever made me feel like a person instead of a weapon. He pressed his forehead to hers. I'm choosing you because I'm tired of being powerful and empty. I'm choosing you because I'd rather be ordinary with you than extraordinary without you. His voice dropped to a whisper. I'm choosing you because I love you. And I never stopped. She sobbed. He held her. And for the first time in 2 years, she let him. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. What if it doesn't work? Then we'll figure it out. Together. She pulled back, looked at him. You promise? I promise. She wiped her eyes. Oregon? Oregon. What's there? Mountains, rain, a house with a yard, quiet. She smiled, just a little. Sounds boring. It does. I've never lived anywhere boring. Me neither. She looked back at the cribs, at Minseo and Minjai sleeping, then back at him. When do we leave? His heart stopped. You mean 3 days? You said 3 days. Yes. Then we'll be ready. He pulled her close, kissed her forehead. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. If you screw this up, I'm taking the girls and disappearing where you'll never find us. He laughed. Fair enough. She smiled, and for the first time in 2 years, it reached her eyes. 3 months later, Oregon was everything Minho said it would be. Quiet. Green. Peaceful. The house sat on the edge of a small town. 2 stories. White picket fence. A yard where the girls could play when they were older. It was nothing like his penthouse. Nothing like the empire he'd left behind. And it was perfect. Yuna stood in the kitchen, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise through the window. The mountains were purple in the distance. The air smelled like pine and rain. She heard footsteps behind her, felt arms wrap around her waist. Good morning, Minho whispered against her neck. She smiled. Good morning. Girls still asleep? For now. He kissed her shoulder. How long do you think we have? 5 minutes, maybe 10 if we're lucky. he laughed. Then we should make the most of it. He turned her around, kissed her properly, soft, slow, like they had all the time in the world. Because they did. No empire, no enemies, no deadlines, just them. When they pulled apart, she looked up at him. You're happy. It wasn't a question. He smiled. I am. I've never seen you like this. Like what? Relaxed, peaceful, like you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. He cupped her face. That's because I finally have everything I want. What about the empire? What about it? Don't you miss it? He thought about it, honestly. The power, the fear, the control. Then he thought about this morning, waking up next to Yuna, hearing the girls coo in their cribs, making coffee, watching the sunrise. No, he said. I don't miss any of it. She studied his face. You mean that? I do. She kissed him. And he realized this was his new empire, not built on blood or fear, but on love, on trust, on second chances. The girls woke up 20 minutes later. Minho changed Minseo while Yuna fed Minjae. They'd gotten into a rhythm, a routine, a life. It wasn't always easy. The girls cried. Yuna got exhausted. Minho still had nightmares about the life he'd left behind. But they worked through it. Together. After breakfast, Minho took the girls to the living room, laid out a blanket, let them practice tummy time while he sat nearby, reading a book on parenting he'd picked up from the local library. Yuna watched from the doorway. This man. This dangerous, powerful, violent man, reading about sleep training and developmental milestones. She'd never imagined it, never thought he could change. But he had. Not overnight, and not perfectly. But he'd tried. Every single day. And that was enough. That afternoon, they took a walk. The girls in a double stroller. Yuna's hand in Minho's. The town was small. Everyone knew everyone. People waved as they passed. Morning, Mr. and Mrs. Kang. Minho waved back. They'd gotten married a month ago. Small ceremony. Just them and a judge. Yuna wore a simple white dress. Minho wore a suit without a weapon hidden in it for the first time in 15 years. It was the happiest day of his life. Do you ever regret it? Yuna asked as they walked. Regret what? Leaving. Giving up everything. He looked at her. Then at the girls. Never. Not even a little? Not even a little. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm glad you chose us. I'm glad you let me. They walked in comfortable silence. Past the bakery. Past the park. Past the elementary school where their daughters would go someday. A normal life. An ordinary life. The life Minho had been afraid of. And now, it was all he wanted. That night, after the girls were asleep, Minho and Yuna sat on the porch. Stars stretched across the sky. The air was cool. Yuna rested her head on Minho's shoulder. Tell me something, she said. What? Do you think we would have made it if things had been different, if you hadn't left? He thought about it. Honestly? Honestly. No. She lifted her head, looked at him. No. I was too broken back then, too lost. I didn't know who I was without the Empire. I would have destroyed us. He took her hand. I needed to lose you to realize what you meant to me. That's a terrible way to learn a lesson. I know. She smiled sadly. I hated you for so long. I know. I wanted to keep hating you. I know. But I couldn't. He kissed her forehead. Why not? Because you came back. And you kept coming back. Even when I pushed you away. Even when I told you to leave. You stayed. Her voice cracked. And I realized you weren't the same man who left me. You'd changed. And I wanted to believe in that version of you. I'm still changing, he said. Every day. Learning how to be a father, a husband, a person. I know. I'm going to mess up. I know. But I'm not going anywhere. She looked up at him. Promise? Promise. She kissed him. And in that moment, everything was exactly as it should be. 6 months later, Minho stood in the yard, pushing Min Seo on a baby swing. She giggled, that bright, pure sound that made his chest ache. Minjae sat in Yuna's lap on a blanket nearby, chewing on a teething ring. The sun was warm, the grass was green. The mountains stood silent in the distance. This was his life now. No bodyguards, no weapons, no enemies, just his family. Yuna called out. Lunch is ready. He lifted Min Seo from the swing, carried her over. They ate sandwiches and fruit. The girls made a mess. Yuna laughed. Minho watched them, his wife, his daughters. His empire had been powerful, but this was everything. After lunch, they lay on the blanket, girls between them, sky above. Minho, Yuna said softly. Yeah, I love you. He turned his head, looked at her. I love you too. Min Seo grabbed his finger. Minjae cooed, and Minho realized he'd spent his whole life searching for power, but the greatest power he'd ever had was right here, in this moment, in this ordinary, beautiful, perfect life. He'd lost everything, and found everything, and he wouldn't change a single thing. Epilogue. 3 years later, the front door burst open. Daddy, Daddy! Min Seo and Minjae ran inside, covered in mud and leaves and joy. Minho looked up from the stove. What happened to you two? We found a frog, Min Seo announced proudly. And we fell in the pond, Minjae added. Yuna appeared in the doorway, equally muddy, laughing. I turned my back for 2 seconds. Minho shook his head, smiling. Bath time, both of you, now. The girls groaned but obeyed, running upstairs. Yuna walked over, kissed him. How was your day? Good. Finished the bookshelf for the girls' room. You're getting good at this whole handyman thing. YouTube tutorials, she laughed. He pulled her close. You're covered in mud. I know. You're beautiful. I know. He kissed her again. Upstairs, the girls were singing in the bath. Loud, off-key, perfect. This was his life, and it was exactly enough.
You have 2 options. Keep watching short clips. Unlock the full story now. 14 full episodes. New content every week. Listen anytime, anywhere, no interruptions. Exclusive members-only area. Choose the story theme once a week. Scan the QR code now. Access is closing.